Parisian cozy elegance, small space luxury apartment refresh. Welcome to Adaptive Living Space channel. Today, I want to invite you into a compact Paris studio that proves something many of us discover later in life. Luxury is not about square footage, it's about intention. This apartment may be small and slightly narrow, but it carries the quiet confidence of old Paris. If you've ever wondered how to refresh a cramped space without losing warmth or dignity, this story is for you. When you first walk in, the hallway feels modest, almost shy. But instead of fighting the narrow proportions, we chose to celebrate them. Long sight lines were kept open, furniture was scaled thoughtfully, and nothing unnecessary blocks the natural path of movement. Small homes require respect for flow. That's the first principle of elegance in tight quarters. For many viewers over 50, comfort now means something deeper than trend-driven design. Cozy luxury is about tactile materials, balanced lighting, and furniture that feels supportive rather than flashy. In this refresh, we avoided over-decoration. Instead, we asked, does this piece serve the space emotionally as well as practically? The walls are wrapped in warm ivory tones, not stark white, but something gentler. Soft neutrals reflect light beautifully in small rooms and create continuity from one corner to another. For mature audiences, these colors feel calming and timeless. They don't shout, they whisper. And in a small apartment, whispers feel far more expansive than noise. Even in a modest studio, architectural hints of Parisian heritage matter. Subtle molding details were refreshed rather than replaced. We preserved the original door frames and polished the old brass hardware. Luxury in small spaces often comes from preservation, not addition. It's about honoring what already exists and letting history quietly shine. Oversized sofas would have overwhelmed this room. Instead, we selected a slim, tailored loveseat with raised legs. Raised furniture visually lightens the space and allows light to travel underneath. That small detail alone makes the room feel less crowded. Thoughtful scaling is one of the most overlooked secrets in compact apartment design. Lighting transforms everything. Rather than relying on one ceiling fixture, we layered table lamps, a petite floor lamp, and warm wall sconces. Soft bulbs create intimacy. In smaller homes, shadows can feel heavy, but strategic lighting softens corners and creates depth. Evening ambiance is where true Parisian coziness comes alive. gilded mirror was placed opposite the main window, not as a trick, but as a respectful enhancement. It doubles the light without feeling theatrical. For those downsizing or simplifying later in life, mirrors offer expansion without clutter. They're architectural poetry in small living rooms. Even in one room, zones matter. A small area rug anchors the seating corner. A round pedestal table defines a dining spot without sharp edges interrupting flow. When every area has a clear purpose, the apartment feels composed rather than cramped. Order creates calm. Clutter shrinks a room instantly, so storage here is discreet. Built-in shelving painted to match the walls, baskets tucked under consoles, and a coffee table with hidden compartments. In small homes, storage is not about volume, it's about invisibility. The kitchenette is narrow but refined. Cabinet fronts were updated with classic panel detailing. Brushed brass handles add quiet sophistication. Instead of upper cabinets crowding the walls, we opted for open shelves displaying just a few curated pieces. Editing is the real luxury here. Heavy fabrics would suffocate this room. Instead, we used linen curtains, a wool throw, and soft cotton upholstery. Natural fibers breathe. They age beautifully. They feel authentic. When designing for viewers who appreciate craftsmanship, materials matter more than decoration. The sleeping area sits behind a partial divider. Rather than closing it off entirely, we used a sheer curtain to create privacy without losing light. A small upholstered headbare adds comfort without bulk. In small apartments, softness creates separation without walls. Instead of large gallery walls, we selected a few meaningful pieces, black and white sketches and vintage-inspired prints. Smaller frames grouped thoughtfully feel curated rather than crowded. For mature homeowners, personal storytelling through art is more meaningful than trend-based decor. Floor space is precious, so we went upward. Tall bookcases draw the eye vertically, making ceilings appear higher. Wall-mounted lighting frees surface areas. When you design vertically, you regain breathing room at ground level. One lesson I always share: leave space to move comfortably. Especially for audiences 50 and above, circulation is essential. We ensured pathways were clear and furniture corners softened. Luxury is not just visual, it's physical comfort. While the aesthetic leans vintage, modern comforts remain. Updated appliances, improved insulation, and discreet technology were integrated seamlessly. True elegance adapts. It doesn't trap you in nostalgia. It blends history with present-day ease. After the refresh, the apartment feels lighter, not larger, but lighter. That distinction matters. Small homes don't need to pretend to be big. They need to feel intentional, and intention creates peace. Many of us reach a stage where we choose simplicity. This apartment demonstrates that smaller living can feel dignified and elevated. When every piece is chosen carefully, the space becomes an extension of wisdom, refined, edited, and confident. So as we close this tour, remember this: square footage does not define luxury, clarity does. This Parisian studio may be compact, but it carries warmth, balance, and timeless charm. With thoughtful choices, even the most modest apartment can feel layered, welcoming, and quietly grand. And perhaps that is the truest form of elegance.